Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at Etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at our Rhino Rack Roof Rack system with the 54-inch long Vortex Aero bars, the 2500 series legs, and the special custom fit kit for your 2020 Ford Edge. So you have your Ford Edge, and let's say you want to carry some things with you that you don't want on the inside of your vehicle. That could be just extra bags or luggage, but you need an accessory to carry them. Or if you want to carry roof boxes or bike racks or even kayaks on your Ford Edge, what you first need is two crossbars. So a roof rack system like this is from Rhino Rack, and it is designed to fit your Ford Edge with a naked roof or without rails. So we'll take a look at this system just to see if it's the right fit for you, and later on I'll show you how to install it. As you can see, our Ford Edge is actually the Ford Edge Titanium with a glass roof. So some people are worried about, if I do get a roof rack system, will this affect my roof? As you can see, nothing is on the roof itself or on the glass itself, but it is more onto the side of your vehicle. So no worries at all, but we will take some measurements later on just to see what your exact clearances are going to be. We'll first talk about roof clearance. So that's going to be the clearance from your glass roof to the bottom of your crossbar. Since your Ford Edge curves, it is going to be different depending on where you measure it. So I'm going to measure right here at the center. So from the glass to the bottom of the crossbar, we have a clearance of about 3 3/4 inches. And then the height added to our roof right over here is about 4.5 inches. With this being the 54-inch long crossbars, these are the recommended bar length for your Ford Edge, but you can also go a little bit longer. I made some videos about those if you want to check those out just to see if that's the right fit for you and your accessories. But with the 54-inch long bars, we'll take a look at overhang. So that's being measured from the end of the tower to right before the end cap, and we have an overhang of about 3 inches. Now let's also talk about the Vortex Aero crossbar system. So these are aluminum crossbars, and they're pretty heavy duty. They have a weight capacity of 165 pounds, and you have this Aero style. So compared to your more traditional square or round crossbars, that aerodynamic style helps when it comes to reducing wind drag and wind noise, making for a quieter ride without anything on it. So then you get rubber strips for underneath, and then you get these Vortex strips for the top. So notice how we have those grooves on our Vortex strips. This is their way of designing it to help reduce that wind drag and wind noise as well. Now the one downside to these Vortex strips is that if you are using T-track accessories, you will have to cut them just to fit around those accessories and then put them back. That's why I highly recommend picking up a couple of these as you get your system just to replace over the years. Now let's talk about crossbar spreads. That's going to be the distance from one crossbar to the other. Since you're using a fit kit, you can't really move your crossbars further apart. You're limited to right where you are. And that's going to be center to center, about 28.5 inches apart. So that's something worth considering when you have your different accessories. Sometimes they require, with those clamps, a certain distance. That's your crossbar spread. One thing special about your Ford Edge that I just want to take a look at is look at where your shark's fin is on the back of your vehicle, and it sits below your crossbar's height. So that's pretty cool to see, because that means if you do have cargo, it's not going to interfere with that shark's fin. So these are the Rhino Rack 2500 series legs. These are the middle part of your crossbar system, holding your crossbar up. Now you have to make sure you get the right ones for the right crossbar. These are for Vortex Aero crossbars, and they give you a pretty decent height here on your Ford Edge so that you have enough clearance. Now these are lockable, which is nice because let's say you have it unlocked, people can access your fit kit as well as your crossbars. So having this in place is just an extra security measure so that they cannot access the rest of the system. A very crucial part of this roof rack system though is the custom feet. So this fits right into your door, and this is designed to fit around the edges of your system. So we have the pads that go on top and fit around the grooves on top, and then we have this metal plate with a rubberized bottom though. So that is perfectly designed that if you have everything tightened down and properly in place, you can even slam your door on it and not worry about it. With this being a naked roof, there is a little bit more to the install process, so I'll guide you through it. But first, I highly recommend maybe picking up the Moki doorstep. This will help give you a little extra height. This is what I use throughout this video if you wanted to check that out, especially as you start loading this up with kayaks, roof boxes. This may be helpful for you. So the install process is a little bit involved, which is why we are here. I'm going to guide you in through the install process. The first thing we want to do is install the first crossbar on our vehicle. That's because from there we can take measurements for the second or the rear crossbar. I have everything set up according to our front and our rear crossbar. You have different numbers underneath the foot pads as well as arrows, so I'll guide you through understanding what those mean. So we have our towers and then we have our specific fit kit for our vehicle. So first we're going to set up our towers and then we'll add the pads and the clamps accordingly. Your 2500 series legs will arrive looking kind of like this. So first you want to take out that bolt and notice that once you have it a little bit loose, you can then rotate it. Now we're going to set up our front right and front left pads. So notice how we have these numbers 142697 and 142696. We also have arrows. So 697 is going to be the right pad and 696 is going to be the left pad. So the arrows indicate which side it's supposed to be facing. We want them to face out for our setup right here. Notice how we have the other pad for the towers. We're just going to connect them now. Our arrow's facing out, this top arrow is facing out, and those just fit together. So then when you have them set up, you're then going to connect them to the tower. So just make sure you know which one is going to be on the right, which one's going to be on the left, and then you just kind of pop that in together. Now I don't install these because I have to take the roof rack right back off and put them on another vehicle, but for you, I highly recommend using the included stickers and then putting them into the towers just to indicate which one's front right, which one's front left, which one's rear right, rear left, things like that, so you don't get confused later on. So now that you've got your towers as well as your foot pads set up, you're then going to set up your crossbars. So what I did is I already put our measuring strip into our crossbar. For your front crossbar, you're going to want it at 150, and for your rear crossbar, you're going to have it at 140. So you do have different measurements depending on your crossbar. Once you have it lined up, you're then going to cut that piece and leave it in there. With that measuring strip in there, you're then going to put your tower. First, you may have to loosen this just so that that nut is easy to slide through your crossbar. But get that lined up and then slide through. With it lined up, make sure it just sits flush against that measuring strip and doesn't go over it. Then just tighten that down. Now that we have our towers set up, we're ready to put it onto our roof. Now this is going to involve some measuring on our vehicle, so let's go do that. So we could use our measuring tape, but if you already used the measuring strip for your bars, you can use that as well because our measurement for our front is going to be 150 millimeters or almost 6 inches. So just line that up. So we're now going to place this onto our roof and just get it lined up with 150 millimeters from the door. We're going to want to look at the center of the tower, and that's where the arrow should be. With this perfectly lined up, you're then going to put this clamp right over there and then use the bolt you took out earlier just to tighten that down. Now with those hooks in there, you can now tighten it down with the included tool. Now I do recommend tightening it down evenly on each side, which means like 75% on that side, then finish it off on this side, then complete the other side, just so it doesn't skew one way to the other. But once those are tightened down, we can now put on our rear crossbar. With everything tightened down, don't forget to put your end caps into your crossbars and then secure them with the blue Rhino Rack security key, and then put the end caps into your towers and then secure those with the Rhino Rack lock and key. With everything in place, you do that for all 4 towers and crossbars. That's it for the install. So hopefully that install process helped you out with figuring out this roof rack system. There are a bunch of different measurements, so just make sure to double check those things before you install, and it's pretty easy just to redo if you did get one of them wrong. But anyways, my personal thoughts about this roof rack system is I'm a pretty big fan of Rhino Rack and their design. I like their crossbars, I like how light they are, I do like how their fit kit works. It can be a little tricky at first just to get it lined up, but once you do, you can leave them on and not be worried about them wearing down over time. I do recommend following the instructions they have though when it comes to car washes as well as the weather. My one downside to the Rhino Rack system is the Vortex strips. Again, highly recommended to pick up extras, especially if you're going to be using T-Track accessories. But as for how it fits with our forward edge, we get pretty good clearance. I'm not going to be worried about clamps not fitting between the crossbar and the roof, and it stays away from our glass roof, which is awesome as well. And that was a look here at our Rhino Rack Roof Rack system with the 54-inch long Vortex Aero crossbars, the 2500 series legs, and the custom fit kit for the 2020 Ford Edge.